Did you think AI are taking a lot of jobs?
Yes, in all honesty, as a business owner, would you rather employ people or would you rather save cost? Our digital marketing team had to be disbanded because what we need them for, yeah, is too much.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So for someone who doesn't truly understand data science, can you explain it to me like I'm 5 years old?
let's just assume you have a business. You notice that you have more customers on the weekends than during the week. A data scientist would help you look at how the trends of your business using the data that you have. Because obviously, we know quite well that you have more customers in the evening, you have more customers on the weekends.
Can you walk us through your journey? Like who was Ajibola before all of this?
Okay, so I studied mathematics in Federal University of Technology, Akure, Futa. While I was in university was when I was doing all this entertainment. And after university, I did a stint with the bank. I did a few months with Intercontinental Bank, now defunct. And I also did a little bit of time with EcoBank. I also had a magazine back in the days. I think I registered it in 2010. It was called Posh Niger Magazine, and we used to publish entertainment and lifestyle. We did one for Two Face, Sound Sultan, Teju Babyface, Kufunke Akindele, Yemi Alade, Orezi, and Flavor, and a few politicians. But in 2015, we had to stop because that was when Instagram became, the social media took over the whole space, and then we now became OGs after IG.
Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Series by the Diaspora Code, where we spotlight African innovators, founders, and leaders building solutions and making impact across the borders. So, today I am truly excited to be joined by an exceptional guest. Now, he's a data scientist, he's a business analyst, an artificial intelligence professional, he's also a product developer. And I mean, he's literally an entrepreneur who is leveraging technology to solve real world challenges today. So, without further ado, join me in welcoming Ajibola Agbaje.
Woo, woo, woo.
You're welcome. So,
Yeah.
tell me your nicknames because you told me you have a lot of nicknames.
Well, yeah. So, from time immemorial, like when I was younger, I was called Aji
Oh,
by the family. Yeah, that's just like the first three letters of my name, Ajibola. And then in the university, it was funky nice to AJEE.
oh,
Yeah. And so, because my first ever profession was a DJ, I was named or nicknamed DJ Selector.
wow. A
And then
DJ. I should have, oh my God.
yeah. So that was in the university. I was a radio DJ. I was a radio presenter then. And then when I graduated from the university, I stopped being a DJ. So instead of using DJ Selector, it changed to Mr. Selector. So that Mr. Selector is the name that I use on all my socials, Instagram, everywhere, Twitter, and all that. Yeah. So, and in the UK, they call me Mr. Japaflex. Yeah. So,
Wow. That's a lot. I mean, I wouldn't have taken you as someone who was, a DJ.
yeah, no. So my life has always been around entertainment. Back in the day, I also had a magazine back in the days. I think I registered it in 2010. It was called Posh Niger Magazine, and we used to publish entertainment and lifestyle. We had done a couple of editions with Two Face Idibia back then, when all those days that Two Face was still like everybody's darling. We did one for Two Face, Sound Sultan, Teju Babyface, Kufunke Akindele, Yemi Alade, Orezi, and Flavor, and a few politicians. But in 2015, we had to stop because that was when Instagram became, the
Oh.
social media took over the whole space, and then we now became OGs after IG. So that was when I stopped entertainment in general, and I just moved into business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
All right. So you're a data scientist.
yeah.
You're also AI professional, product developer. So now, can you walk us through your journey? Like, who was Ajibola in all of this?
Okay, so I studied mathematics in Federal University of Technology, Akure, Futa.
Okay.
2001 to 2007, I had BSc, BTech in industrial mathematics. So that mathematics is like the foundation of my journey in general. So while I was in university was when I was doing all this entertainment, the radio DJ and stuff. And after university, I did a stint with the bank. I did a few months with Intercontinental Bank,
Mm-hmm.
now defunct, and I also did a little bit of time with EcoBank. Then after then, I went into business. But around the time, like towards the end of the 2017, 2018, thereabout, I started thinking about the future. And, while the whole world was moving towards technology, back then in Nigeria, things were still very manual. And I remember talking to one of my friends that was in Canada as at that time. I asked him which profession he would pick between being a data scientist and a cybersecurity professional. And he explained to me that cybersecurity, you have to do a lot of certifications, but data science is just you and your data. And then I know my background is mathematics, so all I just had to do was, go back to the drawing boards, do a little bit of review, and refresh my memories. So I felt, yeah, it was time for me to go back to school. And I started trying to learn Python by myself. I was doing a little bit of practice. I was getting the hang of it, but I knew quite well that I would gain more knowledge if I had the opportunity to go back into the classroom. So around 2020, I started thinking about leaving the country, that leaving Nigeria. And one of the things that was a turning point for me was the NSAS. Yeah, it was a really sorrowful period. And the only thing that came to my head was, if the government is treating you this way, how do you expect the international community to see it? When it's actually like killed a lot of things within me, and was at that point I just felt it was hopeless. So I packed my bags, applied to Tisa University, masters in data science, and yeah, I got into the UK in 2021. I'm grateful to God I finished with a distinction. Wow. Yes, in data science. And so, well, while the program was going on, had to travel into a lot of skills. We're building products for some other companies also, because before I also came to the UK, I was a technical business analyst with some um, tech companies. So I did quite a number of stuff with them. And so it was just easy transition. And I think my background in mathematics was like a very important pivot, because it helped me to easily transition into data science.
Oh. So at what point did you realize that technology can actually solve like real life problems?
Okay, so back in the days, like my days as entrepreneur in Nigeria, I had a logistics company.
Okay.
Yeah, so this Lagos about the railway project.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my company was part of the companies that got contracts from federal government as well as China Construction.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved construction materials for them. And at that point, I started thinking there was a lot of fraud, a lot of money missing. How do I mean? When you contract these things out to truck owners, most of the time, some of them will use your money to go and deliver somebody else's goods. Some of them will use your money to go and repair their own vehicles and stuff
Wow.
like that. So people were losing money a lot. And it was at that point I was thinking, what if there was an app to solve this problem? At some point, I thought about it, and I felt this is not something I can undertake on my own, because it is capital intensive. As a matter of fact, when I got into the UK, was one of the first products I felt I should build, because when the idea kept on coming, the only reason why I didn't go further in that project was because, firstly, I am not in Nigeria. Okay. And I know quite well that they're going to build a product like that for Nigerian market.
You have to be there. Yes.
Then also because of all the challenges of the people, fraud, and all those things. I just felt it was better for me to just hand that. But at that point, I felt technology actually goes a long way to solve human problems. And coupled with the fact that almost everything in the UK has technology embedded into it, even yeah, majority of all the things you want to do, there's an app somewhere. Okay, like for example, in Lagos, Agbe roads, they would charge you for parking, and then you have to pay manually. Whereas here, you just pay through the app,
Yeah.
and when your time is up, if you don't come and get your car, you get the ticket. So everything is automated, and it was at that point I just felt, no matter how it is, even if technological adoption back home is not as much, it is still going to get to that point. And the way technology is going, you have to be there because the world is changing at a very, very exponential rate. And if you don't go along with the flow, you'll be left behind.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that is why, I have to just also take a slice of the pie.
This thing you just mentioned about when you park your car and then back home in Nigeria, the touts tend to collect money to allow you park. But over here, you buy your tickets and all of that. That's a very good idea if this should go back home. And it's going to create a lot of job opportunities for people.
I remember late last year, I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, what if we automate NURTW?
That's it.
It was an idea that I felt it's something that could work, but the political will they allow it to work?
Yeah.
Just for example, elections. Look at the debates they're having in the House, in the National Assembly of Nigeria right now.
So for someone who doesn't truly understand data science, can you explain it to me like I'm 5 years old?
Okay. Let's just assume you have a business and during the week, you notice that you have more customers on the weekends than during the week. And then you have more customers in the evening than the morning or afternoon. A data scientist would help you look at how the business, the times, how the trends of the business using the data that you have. Because obviously, we know quite well that you have more customers in the evening, you have more customers in the weekend. If you want to employ maybe additional labor to your business, using your data, I can easily tell you it is better for you to put a part-time employee than a full-time. And then your part-time employee should come on the weekends because that's when you need more and you need more sale. So also every other kind of business that you do, there's a possibility or there's the chance that the data interprets the things that you don't know. Right? So you are just selling stuff, but at the end of the day, the data is going to tell you the true picture of what your business is like. And this is not just for people that sell, it's for any kind of business. Like for example, my own platform, Japaflex, data tells us where people are located. It tells us the times that people come online. So you can use that to target your advertising if you want to focus on some demographic. It is important for you to understand what your data is saying. So the interpretation of what that data is saying, you'll not be able to convert it into business. And then with that, your business will be more profitable.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I understand it much better now. So even African entrepreneurs listening to you right now, what's that one thing you would tell them for them to use AI to help their business? Like how do they leverage on technology? So
we have seen how many LLMs are out there. For people that don't know what LLM is, it's ChatGPT, Gemini, and all that. We've seen how they are out there. The technology that you need is actually going to help you simplify reports and also reduce your cost to your overhead cost per running. For somebody that is probably a small business owner and needs somebody to manage their social media, it is easy for you to just get a platform and connect all your social media platforms or your social media accounts to it. And that is going to save you money because when you make a post, you can easily set it up such that it goes across all the platform. You know. So and also there are quite a number of platforms like CRM, like ERP system, where you use them to automate things instead of you probably taking legend and writing
Yeah.
input and output,
Mm-hmm.
profit and loss. All you just need to do is just connect it to the system. Like for example, we use what we call QuickBooks. QuickBooks is connected to our bank account such that all the transactions that goes through, it automatically assigns and says, okay, this one is for refreshment, this one is for entertainment, this one is for software development. Yeah. So for when we want to file our taxes, all we just need to do is just download what QuickBooks has taken.
Yeah.
Because it's still our account, but it has simplified it. And in that case, it saves us money on accounting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody that has a business, the best is to understand the technology that goes along with the business and get into that system. Yeah.
Did you think AI are taking a lot of jobs? Like,
Yes. Okay,
and you think in the future it's going to take more jobs?
So last night I was at Valley Business Club event. It was a dinner event. They had FW Capital and Bank of England. We all sat down together. It was kind of like a roundtable conference, and we talked about how the unemployment is gradually rising because companies are not taking on apprentices anymore.
Yes.
And the takeout was that AI companies were adopting AI more. And in all honesty, as a business owner, would you rather employ people or would you rather save costs?
That's
Because no matter how it is, whatever it okay, like data analysts, for example, there's a difference between data scientists and data analysts actually. But for a data analyst, what you're doing is analyzing data. And now we are having AI systems that you can just plug to your system so that it analyzes the data for you instead of you employing somebody. That's the job goal. You know? So writing, for example, you don't probably need like a whole writer to do things for you. All you just need to do is tell ChatGPT, I want to do an article about so and so, and then it gives you all you just have to do is edit.
Yes.
You know? So there are quite a number of things that you don't necessarily have to employ somebody for. For example, our digital marketing team had to be disbanded because what we need them for, is students.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there was no point keeping extra employees because that money that we're spending, they can easily use it for something else. So look at content creation. There is a lot of AI platforms out there. There's Bixview, there's Banana Banana, all of them. If you want to create a content for your platform, you can easily just give it a prompt. All you need to do is learn how to use it and then
know the exact prompts to use.
Yeah. So AI is taking a lot of jobs, yes. So another thing we need to understand is AI needs human for it to execute its own task. AI needs prompting, and that prompting has to be done by an individual. So as much as we are saying AI is taking jobs, AI also requires humans for it to execute its own task.
Yeah.
So what I would advise is be on top of your game. Because if you don't position yourself as that person that the AI needs, then you're probably just hanging somewhere.
Yeah, losing sight.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Japaflex now. All right. So tell us what Japaflex is all about. Because when people hear about it, Japaflex, they try to combine the both of them and they know what Japa is apparently, but the flexing part, okay, let us know what Japaflex is.
And that's the funny thing. The name is actually the product is actually in the name.
Oh.
Japaflex just means when you japa, you should flex.
Oh God.
And then that flex part is now broad because flexing means it could mean you enjoying yourself. It could mean you getting information. It could mean just you not stressing yourself.
Yes, exactly.
In a short form. Yeah. So that is exactly what Japaflex means. So and like I said earlier about my journey into the UK and data science and everything. To be fair, and in all honesty, it was that NSAS that actually got me out of Nigeria, or rather, was the turning point for me.
Yeah.
And when I got into the UK, the journey was more. There was a lot of unlearning to do because the economy was different from what we're used to. You know, the anyhowness that we're used to was not there, and any mistake you make can probably land you in jail or give you fines, and you don't want a bad record to your name. And a lot of people don't know these things. There is like dearth of information because information is not circulating. So you have to Google, search for videos on TikTok, on Instagram, look for content, for find creators that are creating content regarding all these things. I remember in my first Osofia London experience. I wanted to. That was my first day of going into the university, so I wanted to take a bus, and I was standing on the other side of the road. When the bus came, I realized that was my bus. For me to cross the road was busy. When I finally crossed, I had to be tapping the bus because the bus had already moved. And the bus didn't stop. I had to wait at the bus stop again for another 30 minutes. One of the things is information, because obviously I could probably have tried to find out how I would go about it.
Yeah.
I remember that same day, on my way back home, I just jumped on the bus. I didn't even know where the bus was going. The bus took me round the whole Tees Valley.
You went on
Came
the
back
tour.
again. Yeah, came back to Stockton, and then I had to now take the bus back to Middlesbrough. Then took a cab home because it was an experience that I wasn't used to.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, and if you see the world of today, there is a lot of displacement. People are moving from one place to another.
Yes.
For political reasons, for greener pastures, for tourism. Most of the time, when people land into this new environment, you realize that you need information. You need to find things that you're used to. Sometimes, yeah, you may be able to Google it and find it. But other times, you need somebody to actually tell you this is what's going on. Like, for example, you get into, let's just assume that you go to London and you book a hotel, but you don't know that that area that you booked the hotel is where there's some cold cans or something. You want somebody that lives there or has an experience there to tell you this is what's going on in this area. This is what you do, this is how you go about it. And that is exactly what Japaflex does. Japaflex is an innovative social platform which helps diasporas settle or integrate when they find themselves in new environments. We have what we call we use the technology called advanced geofencing and relocation technology as well as AI. So the geofencing keeps you within a particular region. So for example, I'm in Middlesbrough. I am not looking for information in London. I want to see information that are local to me.
Yes.
That's what the geofencing does. So it keeps you within that area. So you're able to see people, see businesses, connect you to users within that local area. And then if you travel outside of that geofence, we have the advanced location switching, such that all you just do is refresh your location, and then the app automatically captures your new location, and then it will ask you, do you want to switch or do you want to keep your old location? If you say you want to switch, it switches you into that your new city, and then gives you a fresh 20-mile radius, such that you're able to connect to people in that new city. And if you say you want to keep the old location, then that means all the information or activities happening within your old location still maintains it. And one other thing is Japaflex is not just a UK platform. We aim to go global. Currently, we've got users in Canada, in US, in Belgium, in India, in Nigeria, in Ghana. Because of investments, we've not gotten to the point where we want to go to.
Okay.
Yes, we are not where we used to be.
Yeah, that's great. So how are you marketing this for people to know and people to have an idea about Japaflex?
So at the moment we have 4,800 plus on the app. And what if I told you that this 4,800 is organic? Because we've actually not really been doing marketing. It's not like we don't want to do marketing yet. Okay, so in product development, or rather in the tech space, in the startup space, there's this thing we call bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is when you are self-funding the project before you raise investments, before investment comes in, before partnerships and all those things. So at the moment, Japaflex is bootstrapped. That means I'm spending all my own personal funds, family and friends, support, and all that. We've not gotten public investments. And when you're self-funding and you're spending your own money, you try as much as possible to be lean. and make sure that every penny counts. So and that's the reason why I said we've not actually been doing marketing. Because of the value the app gives, users are actually the ones spreading the word to other people. So the app is growing. Yes, we're trying our own little way pushing the product, but irrespective, our users are kind of loyal, and then they've seen the potential of what the app can do. It's also a way in which, like other global platforms out there, there's too much noise. For example, if you create an account today, for you to get a reasonable amount of following or traction or engagement, it will take you a while because it feels like there's a carcass online right now where people that don't know you don't want to interact with you,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But it's not like that on Japaflex. Japaflex is kind of like a community where everybody's helping everybody. So, and we don't do all these followers and followings. We just do connections. So your connection is the number of people that you're connected or linked with. And also, because of privacy, our connection is designed such that you can't send a DM to somebody except you're connected to the person.
All right.
Yeah. So when you send a connection request to somebody and the person accepts the connection, then the DM icon automatically appears. So if you're not connected to somebody, there's no opportunity of sending a DM. So and the other good thing is, for example, you're connected to somebody in Canada. If you've sent a connection and the person has accepted the connection, the person makes a post in Canada, it shows up on your timeline.
All right.
So you're able to follow up with whoever it is you're connected to because of that link between both of you. So gradually, I think because of the value proposition of what Japaflex is doing, people are helping us to spread the word, and that is one of the things that is helping us grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you.
That's a good one. So, what challenges have you faced or are you currently experiencing right now building a technology platform like Japaflex?
Two major ones, or rather, just one.
Hmm.
Money.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so you know how labor in the UK is a peculiar topic. Reason being that the government announces, oh, this is the new minimum wage and
Yes.
stuff. And you look at your business, and while you know you need people, are you able to pay that salary? You know, and UK, time is money. Nobody wants to do anything for free. Everybody wants to, make money out of it. So it got to a point I realized that there was a lot of things to do, and because all these things require different type of skills, I had to learn all those skills. So, like for example, I wasn't a web developer before. I had to start doing web because we have the websites. We needed a domain and subdomains and all those things. So I had to learn it. I wasn't a business analyst before, or rather, I was, but not like fully 100% into business analysis. But it got to a point I realized, business case, Moscow prioritization, all those things that are required of the project, risk register, and all those things. Who is going to do it? I can't contract it out because I don't want to pay. Because it's not like I don't want to pay, I don't have the money to pay because no investment yet. Yeah. So I had to be doing all those things. So I had to roll up my sleeves and execute more tasks than expected. So I think that is just a major challenge. And then the other part is the marketing. One thing I realized is I don't know if I wouldn't say it is a cultural thing, but more people that are not my own people are the ones supporting my production. Okay, let me find a way to rephrase it to make it more understandable. People that are not Nigerians are the ones that are supporting their profits more.
Yeah.
How do I mean? We realize that it has become a thing of okay, he's doing it until it becomes popular before we come on board. The odd sort of people see it and they see the potential, like, oh, let me jump on this. And for example, we had our Mind, Money, and Machines event yesterday. Abdul's Cash and Carry sponsored us. Now, Abdul, when we released the MVP was released last year. We were not even where we are today. Abdul has always been on the platform. creating posts, creating content. And so at some point, it wasn't as if I didn't market other Nigerian businesses. Like they saw us as a waste of time. But look at the loyalty that Abdul are giving us.
Yeah.
So also this is just one out of many, and I realize you have to continue to do your own, irrespective. Whether they support you or not, it will get to the point where they see the value and then they come around. So I got if at some point it felt like I was proud, but it's not pride. It is me understanding the situation and then going against all odds to make sure that we do something.
Yeah. So you just mentioned this thing, and to be honest, if you look around, I don't know if it's, how do I explain it now? Because it's not just for Africans. Every race, every community tends to say, "Oh, when I started this, they didn't believe in me. They did not support me, but it's the outsiders that did that." So I don't know if you had the same experience, and how did you feel when you were telling people about Japaflex? People within you that you expected them to.
When Japaflex first got into App Store, the first 2 weeks, there was a lot of response, a lot of encouragement. People were downloading. I'm not saying my community did not support, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there are a number of them that are like that.
Yeah.
When Japaflex first came out, the encouragement was there, it was loud, and all of a sudden, it became quiet. That period where it became quiet, it was a very, very trying period for me because the thought was, is this not a waste of time? Am I sure this product is going to go far? I started questioning every inch of my being because my thought was this product is failing because people were not responding to it, you know. And then I had to start begging people to create content on the app because I just wanted there to be more people using it than me. It now felt like so at some point when people come on the app, it was only my post they were seeing. So it felt like you created an app for yourself. So it was really, really a trying period as at that time. But for me, I just kept on building, and irrespective, while we were building, we were showcasing because I realized don't build in silence. So as I was building, I was putting out there on LinkedIn, on Instagram, just throwing it out for other people to consume and see. I did not know that people were watching.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I noticed people were watching because I started going out more to tech events, and then I would introduce myself, I would network, I would connect. If there was anything to fill, I'll fill a form. It was anybody to talk to, I'll probably talk to the person, get complimentary cards and all that. Our website was up, so most people were going through the website to just see what we were doing. And along the line, I got to Flock, Odd Labs, and I started trying to create relationship with them because I knew quite well that there were these programs that they do a lot, tech events and all that. Odd Labs is kind of like the tech incubator space in the whole of Things Valley. If you're in tech and you're not in Odd Labs, you're nowhere. So I started trying to create relationship, going there once in a while, meeting people. And when the stable program, which is sponsored by the Things Valley Combined Authority, when it came out, I was fortunate to be the only Nigerian business to be selected. And I think part of the selection was because we have been building in the public. They have been seeing us.
Yes.
So I won't say it was easy because we had to pass through the whole process. But at the end of the day, we were selected, which was, an advantage on our part. And after being selected, they gave us business support and grant for 6 months, which kept us afloat. And you can imagine somebody that's been spending his own personal funds, and that 6 months was like a respite because all that period, I didn't have to stress about how I was going to pay salaries or how I was going to, maintain infrastructure. All I just needed to focus on was building. And with that program as well, they helped us with our value proposition, our business model, and initially when Japaflex came out, the idea in my head was just build a product, switch location, blah blah blah. And then along the line, I realized that there were a lot of things we left on the table that were supposed to carry along. So those were part of the things that Tis Valley Labs helped us with. And now we are so robust that we are not just looking at local, it's like UK alone. Now we're looking at the total 1.5 billion people that travel across the world. We're looking at the 350 million people that don't live in their home country. It's a vast market.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've started good. The only thing is, once we're able to raise investments, I think the sky will be our limit.
So where do you see Japaflex in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, well, in the next 3 years, we would probably have presence in probably 50 or more countries. Currently, like I said, we have a few users in some emerging markets, Ghana, Nigeria, US, Belgium, Portugal, India. I think Iraq. As a matter of fact, I was surprised when I saw.
Wow.
Yeah, I was
That's
surprised when I saw a download
lovely.
from Iraq. Yeah, and then UK, Germany. But once we are able to, because there's a reason why I'm emphasizing on investment a lot, because investment involves, once investment comes in, you have resource to do more marketing and then to set up shop in all those places.
Yeah.
So hopefully once we do that, we'll do what we call backward engineering. Backward engineering is such that we go to the places where people move away from. Because, like for example, a lot of Nigerians travel out of the country to other places. Growing our presence inside Nigeria is going to help us because when they move from the country to the other places, they go with us. Also, Ghanaians, Zimbabweans, they also move around a lot. So, backward engineering means we go into where the origin of these people are, people that are moving away from them, and then try to capture their own market such that when they now step outside of their own zone and come into like other zones like the West, they are able to go along with Japaflex. And then we also look at growing our presence in other markets that are around the EU, for example. The plan is to also set up shop in Portugal because Portugal is part of the EU. So, and then use that to access the European Union market. And the US is actually the big fish. So, by the third year, we should have presence in the US. By the fifth to seventh year, we should either exit or IPO.
Right.
So that is the plan. We man proposes, but it's either an exit or an IPO.
All right. So talking about collaboration, what's your thought about it, especially within African communities?
True economic for us.
Yes.
Yeah. So collaboration is very very important. At the moment, we are also collaborating with a few brands, Lemfi, for example, because Lemfi does money remittances to the backward engineering I just talked about. People send money from here back home and all those places. So we have a collaboration with Lemfi, and there are quite a number of other products that have contacted us, and some of them are still on the fence, waiting for us to grow before they come on board. Recently, we are discussing with Refugee Futures as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a possible collaboration there. We're looking at speaking. We have collaboration with Tisa University, and we're speaking with Durham University as well, and a few other ones. So collaboration is very very essential because you cannot, if you're doing a business, you are not going to be a woman army. Even the billion-dollar companies also need clients. They need collaboration to succeed. So yeah, collaboration is very, very important. And the earlier you're able to understand your market and look at the kind of business or brands that are going to help push or project your own business, the earlier you can jump into that, the better for you in business.
So if people were to collaborate with your brand, how do they come in and what do they gain from it?
It depends on what the proposal is, because our own brand now has so many arms. For example, the diaspora market is vast, and when I say vast, we've got people that are buying houses.
Yeah.
So collaborating with estate agents is important. We've got people that are looking for visas. Collaborating with immigration consultants is important. We've got people that have their own businesses they want to sell. We've got people that are creating events. Collaborating with all of them is important. And that is one of the reasons why we have a particular program that we call Japaflex online series.
All right.
So usually we just pick a problem that is facing the diaspora, and we bring a professional to talk about this problem so that people that are going through the same issue can listen from a professional and get solution to the problem.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we did one for innovative cannabis.
Okay.
And the turnout was massive. About over 60 people attended. It's a virtual event, over 60 people attended. Next week we'll be doing we'll be doing another one for global talent, where people that are hoping to do the global talent visa can also join. We're doing the one for business sponsorship, where people that want to get COS for their businesses can also join. So all these things are, we realize that there are challenges that the diasporans are facing. So the earlier we're able to help them with this solution, the better. In the nearest future, there are still some features that we're going to build which would have contact of all these professional services, such that when they come around and they want to do any collaboration, you can easily find somebody that can do that for you, as against you going, stressing and then falling into the arms of a fraudster or something. So yeah, that one is also there.
All right. So, just as you mentioned earlier, the world is evolving and technology is like going. So if you're stuck where you were some 20, 30 years ago, it's not the same as now. So what skills do you think, let's say in the next 5, 10 years, what skills do you think would matter the most for entrepreneurs, for young people who are coming up or people who are already in business? So what skills do you think would matter the most?
So, in all honesty, you're getting tech school. How do I mean? I don't know if you saw the video recently where the robots in China were doing kung fu. Yeah. It has gotten to the point where, but if they train these robots very well, they'll be able to do a lot of them. And when a robot can do it, the cost of running it is going to be low, because the most important thing is just for you to buy the robot, and then you'll be charging the battery. So in that situation, what do you need a human for? Currently now, we've gotten to the point where LiDAR technology is driving cars. You don't need to. You'll probably get rid of a chauffeur in the nearest future, because you don't need a driver.
Yeah.
All you just need to do is sit down in your car, tell your car, drive me from point A to point B, and then it does. So I would rather say, firstly, get a tech skill, because like I said earlier, AI needs the human part, human to prompt it.
Yes.
So tech skill, very important. Secondly, communication skill. No matter how it is, you still need to sell. You still need to communicate with people. You still need to, there is always that human touch, human aspect of things.
Yes.
So communication is extremely important. And then the last one, get a hand skill. When I say hand skill, it will be, well, while we're saying technology is growing and evolving, there are still a lot of things that you can't use technology for.
Yes, that's true.
Currently, building houses, well, even if you use AI to do your business, to do your building plan and everything, you still need humans to build the house, plumbing and a few other things. So that particular aspect will always have a market as well. So I think what people need to do now is evaluate themselves, evaluate what they want to do in the future, and try to see how they can position themselves. And on this note, I would like to add as well that because of all these trends and because of all the things we're seeing, we actually decided in the team that we were going to set up Flex Academy. So Flex Academy is like an edtech platform where we want to help people to get requisite skills for the future, And then the good thing is because we are also developing products, we'll bring them in as interns so that they can also have like first-hand experiences on how these things are being done. So, like for example, if students sign up for business analysis or project management courses, we bring them into our platform and then show them how it's done, give them specific projects. We're still about to build. Okay, so our advertising platform, for example, is inside our admin system, but we need to make it a standalone. That's a project on its own. We've got another app that we want to build that is going to be connected to Japaflex. Just the way Threads is connected to Meta accounts, that kind of thing. We've got another app that is going to be connected like that. That one is also going to be built, So we still have quite a number of projects and products to build. And we just feel, in a way, we can share knowledge by setting up a Flex Academy. We bring people on board, let them learn how to do it. We give them projects, real life projects. They're going to be the ones in charge of this project. They probably will just assign roles to them. Yeah, business analyst, yeah, product manager, yeah, this and that. And then we monitor how they do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to take you back to when you said we're DJ. Do you have plans on going back into entertainment?
At the moment, I'm not thinking about it. And I think it's because my plate is full.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've always had that foot in entertainment that I doubt if I would ever leave that industry. Now, in a way, Japaflex is like an entertainment platform, Now we are also going to be starting our own yearly event called Culture Fest. It's an event where we bring in all the different cultures represented in a particular city under one roof, so everybody understands who they are.
Does it have to be African cultures or just any culture?
Any culture. We're going to reach out to all different communities to tell them, you bring your own music, your food, your fashion, this other community to bring yours and all that, and then everybody just comes together under one roof and exchange. It's kind of like a cultural exchange event, So that is also an entertainment event, and we are having it. So I won't really say I'm not in entertainment anymore. It will always be part of me, with all the swag and everything. Yeah. So it's difficult to just say I'm no more in that industry. I'm still there, but I'm not just in the front line, or I'm not really carrying the responsibility that makes it look like I'm actually there.
All right. So what's that one thing people look at you and you're like, these people would misunderstand this about me. Like they can never guess it right.
Well, people say I'm proud.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing because, when I don't know somebody or when I'm in a place where I'm getting into the place for the first time, I don't want to be a nuisance.
Yes.
Yeah. As much as I can be a nuisance if I want to. But I try as much as possible to limit my, access because I'm gradually becoming a public figure.
That's good.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, recently I had to go on Twitter to delete most of all these old tweets I've posted in the past. Yeah, you can see what's happening.
Exactly. People just go back and dig up things and
then they just smell your personality. Exactly. Yeah, so I had to be doing. As a matter of, if it was possible, I want to even clear all the posts because I think I've been on Twitter since 2009.
Wow.
You can imagine the Ajibola of 2009. I would have said a lot of rubbish. So usually when I go into a place, sometimes I keep to myself and people just think, oh, he's funny, he's proud. I've met people before that said, oh, I know him now. He doesn't like to relate it. I'm like, me, of all people. Me, as in Ajibola Agbaje. So I've heard that times without number, but irrespective, all I just say is, anybody that feels, okay, oh, you don't know me or whatever, come to Japaflex, you'll see the real me. Yeah, I'm always there. I might not respond to messages on WhatsApp or something, but on Japaflex, you will always see me disturbing everybody. And the funny thing again is, I don't even talk of tech in Japaflex. I just talk about, random things.
Yeah.
Whereas my dream is actually the tech, but I don't talk about it. Although I will soon start making content around it because our forum feature is coming.
Okay.
And that forum feature is designed such that you've got knowledge about something, you can go there to share it so that people that need the information or the knowledge that you shared, they can easily find it. So when that forum feature comes, I'll most likely be dropping my 2 cents about any topic that I have ideas or knowledge about. So yeah, and I kind of enjoy doing all these kind of things. Back in the days, there's a lot of things they don't know about me. So I remember when blogging was still fresh. I would have actually been one of the biggest bloggers in Nigeria. I opened my first blog in 2009 when before them Linda Ikeji even became big. They had started becoming popular, but I had opened my blog. As a matter of fact, if you search, I think portionnigeria.blogspot.com or something, that was my first blog. You will see the dates. It's still there. It's still on. I don't have access to it anymore. I've forgotten the username or password of the account, but it's still online. So there are quite a number of things in which I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. I've done plenty things. And the good thing is, all these things have actually shaped me to who I am today.
Yes.
When I was doing the Post China magazine, my cousin, whenever I want to publish a new edition, I would go to his house. I'll sleep in his house for like maybe 2 weeks. He would use CorelDRAW to design all those things. So from there, I picked up CorelDRAW ideas and how to do graphic design and everything. And you won't believe, when I became business analyst and product designer, it was one of the skills that came in handy. The first day I used Balsamic, it's a tool for wireframes. The first day I used it, people were asking me, who taught you? How long did you learn this? And I was like, this is my first time using it. They were like, really? How come? Said because I just have graphics knowledge, and it was transferable. So to me, I always say there is no skill that is lost.
Yes.
Yeah. You would always find somewhere to use that skill in the nearest future. So learn as much as you can.
Yeah, that's well noted. So what advice would you give entrepreneurs in the diaspora doing something meaningful?
Number one, information. You need to understand the terrain that you are operating in. Information in the sense that there are a lot of things that you probably would have missed that you can get for free.
Yeah.
Grants, for example, in the UK, grants are everywhere, but people don't know. They think these grants are because of no recourse to public funds. They feel all these grants are public funds, but it's not. The first grant we got was last year. We got £1,000 from an organization in the Northeast here when we pitched at an event. So there is grant everywhere. All you just need to do is look for it or try to find it. For me now, most of the time when I have this information, same thing, I post it on Japaflex and I tell people to go there to go and find it. That's number one, information. Number two, understand your market. While most business people feel when you set up a business, the market will automatically come. But the question is, before your business came, people were using a particular platform.
Yeah.
What is different from that platform that your business is solving? If there's no difference, they will not naturally leave where they are to come to you.
Yeah.
They have to come to you because of a particular value or a pain point that they are solving that current business is not solving. Look at, for example, what Japaflex is doing. We are not competing with Facebook. We're not competing with Instagram. We're not competing with Instagram. They all have their own markets. They have what they do. They have their own value. And what are we doing? Well, focusing on the diaspora. While all these other platforms have groups or pages where they create communities and all. Ours is so generalized to the point that anywhere you find yourself, you don't have to search for any comments, or you just use common platform. So that is also there, and then also skill up. As an entrepreneur, you don't want to be caught hanging. You want to save as much as possible, and for you to save as much as possible means you need to be able to do a few things for yourself. Like, for example, I was talking about graphic design, I was talking about website development. Yeah. All these things were things that eventually became a skill that is useful in my own business. Simple data analysis, simple Microsoft Excel formulas. if you don't know it, it's going to cost you money
Yes.
because you have to contract it to somebody and you have to pay the person.
Yeah.
And all these things are things in which you can learn by yourself. All you just need to do is skill up. So as an entrepreneur, you need to skill up. And then lastly, marketing. You need to be out there.
Yeah.
You cannot sit in one place and expect that the world will come to you. You have to go out there. We as Africans, we've been conditioned so much that we feel once you pray about something, there's a solution coming from heaven. There is no solution. You have to, you know, God has given us that grace, the power, the capability to go out there. And what we need to do, you cannot sit down in your house and pray and say, oh, God, grant me safe journey. I want to travel to London. The part where you have to leave your house and go to the train station, or maybe if you're going to drive, is also your responsibility before God now gives you journey mercies. So you as a business person need to also understand that there is a lot you have to do for your business. It is not spiritual. It is common sense.
Yes.
You have to go out there, push your business, and then that is when you can now pray for favor or grace or whatever it is you want to pray for to help the business forward. But if you don't do your own part, the spiritual is not going to come in.
A lot of people are literally asking God for manna
Yeah.
to come from heaven.
And it's
literally not doing
unfortunate.
anything.
It's unfortunate because, that is what the religious space over the country is. You will see pastors say, everybody bring out your phone and pray for a divine alert. What is divine alert, for crying out loud? You didn't do any contract, you didn't do any project, you're expecting divine alert. You understand?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so all these things sometimes, and that's the reason why it looks as if I'm a fanatic or maybe not religious in a way.
No. It's just all about brainwashing people, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because what you said is actually true. There's no transaction, nothing. You just want.
And you just expect a lot. You'll see people, they will say, go and pray. Somebody will say, okay, let me just pray that God will give me a contract of 100 million. Which skill do you have that you want to go and get contract of 100 million? How many proposals have you written for you to get contract of 100 million?
Exactly.
So there is too many things. You getting out there, pushing your business. When you say preparation meets opportunity,
yes,
that is exactly what it means. Because you are pushing your business, and then the opportunity comes along, and then they see you because you have been pushing your business. It's the same thing for Japaflex at the moment. When I said we joined the stable program, it was because I've always been out there pushing Japaflex. And then when the opportunity for the stable program came, I applied for it. I did everything, and that is where I said, when you've done your own part, then you leave it to God to do His own part.
Yeah.
And then God gave us the grace to be part of the program. But if I had not done the part of me pushing the business or applying or doing all those things, how would we get to this point? So people need to understand that you don't set up a business and just leave it and just go and sleep. You need to be out there. You need to push. You need to market. You need to connect. You need to introduce yourself. You need to network, which is also one of the things that will make your business go far.
Yeah. Wow, you've said a lot. All of this is...
I'm a talkative. Myself, no.
You don't even look like it.
I'm a talkative. So it's actually because there's some conversations that I enjoy talking about. When it comes to technology, it's something in which I enjoy. When it comes to my journey, because I know quite well that myself don't try. I remember that's the reason why I've been saying I remember, when I first got into UK, one of my friends, his son Sultan's younger brother, God rest son Sultan, so we have been friends a long time ago. And when he saw my picture that I had left Nigeria, what he said was, Nigeria has lost something.
Oh.
Yeah. And I asked him, why did he say that? He said, because he knows the amount of businesses, the amount of things that I have done back home. And while he sees UK as an enabling environment, and he said he knows quite well that just give me 5 years, he would see what I'm going to do. And it didn't even take me up to 5 years to get to where I am. Yeah. So as much as possible, I like to talk about all these things. It's things that interest me. And against all odds, when you understand yourself that much, it's just you being friends with yourself.
Yes.
Basically.
So I know you have a lot of things to say. So is there anything you want to say at this moment? I'm not going to ask the question. Is there any other thing that you don't want to say?
Well, I love my wife.
All right.
Yeah. Because I've not made mention of anything personal, so let me just give a shout out to her and then to the family. They It's not easy when, like, for example, yesterday we had our 9 month national event. From that event, I went to Tees Valley Business Club dinner. I got home very late. This morning, everybody had not woken up in the house when I left the house. I had to first go to the office. The events of yesterday, I uploaded them on our website. I created the pages and all that, pushed the website out, did a few things before coming here. I'm leaving here now. I'm going to be doing like 2 different meetings,
Wow.
So I'm a very busy person, but they understand. So as much as possible, when I get home, I try to chill with them and stuff. So big shout out to them because it's not easy. And then aside that, abroad is actually a very good place. You have to be there to understand that all these things that we thought were normal back home, they are not normal.
I mean, we got here, we unlearned,
Mm-hmm.
we relearned. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of things.
I saw one video that Pastor Sam Adeyemi talked about recently, and he said he saw a child that was reading with candles for an exam, and people were saying, the future is bright for this child. The child is serious, blah blah blah, and he was angry because he was like, this is the kind of thing that's meant to become an outrage in the whole country. Why would this child be reading with candles? But you guys are managing mediocrity and saying,
Yes.
until you are out there, until you leave the shores of Nigeria, before you will understand that all these things that people are doing is rubbish. I visited Nigeria for the first time since I left last year, and you won't believe that from the airport I kept on complaining. First, the stench was crazy, and then from there, the queue at the airport, immigration officers were coming to collect passport from people to help them stand. You know, and so I really don't want to say so much of all these things because I don't know where this video is going to get to. But these were all the things that were getting me angry, and I'm like, the person that is going to change Nigeria is not living in Nigeria. Because whoever is living in Nigeria and doing all these politics in Nigeria, they are part of the system.
Yeah.
But you that you've been out there and you've seen and you're angry about how things have turned out, you will be part of the people that can come around with ideas that are going to change things. Not people that would see it and just say, okay, that's how it is. That's not how. It is not. It is not normal. It is not right. Sometimes I remember one of my friends says he was just born in Nigeria. He's not Nigerian because of the orientation. I'm like, yes, it's true. At the end of the day, you realize that things that have become a norm are not supposed to be norm. The outrage, and that's the reason why silly things sell, because everybody just distract themselves and just look for fun things to do instead of focusing on the problem. Unfortunately, that is how it is, and I pray we are Nigerians, irrespective of wherever we are, even if we get passports in the international, we're still Nigerian. And there's Yoruba saying, we always want to go back home. That we can't just abandon the home and feel that because we still carry this Nigerian passport everywhere. When I went to Portugal last year, I was the only person that they were asking me my return ticket, my hotel booking, and all that. And I'm like, Mr. Man, I'm not coming here to come and seek asylum in your country. And the guy was like, this is protocol for them because it's a Nigerian passport. We've been ridiculed so much in the international scene that we need to start looking at how we're going to convert or change things back home. And until those things are done, we'll continue to be laughing stock in the international. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been really amazing speaking with you today.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you so much for being part of this episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. I had Ajibola with me and he said a lot of things. And you as an entrepreneur, you should listen to this. Now, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want more of this. Thank you.